Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How is everybody doing? Feel free to say hello in the chat and let us know if it's your first time with us. Let us know where you're joining from. That's it. I was going to say something else and I already forgot what I was going to say. Tam says, greetings, everybody. Happy hump day. Elena, hello, Jacqui, and everyone. Melinda says, hello, Jacqui. Susan, good morning from Napa. Whenever I hear Napa, I just think wineries. But that sounds warm. Good morning, Susan. Lisa, hi, everyone. Just got home. Perfect timing. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. If this is your first time with me, my name is Jacqui. We are here to talk about this upcoming week of astrology today. And then after I let you know what to expect, we're going to pull some oracle cards to see how to work with the energies that are available to us. Hello, Teresa. I love when you just randomly pop in. You've been hanging out, I think, since the inception of Jacqui on Insight Timer. Hello, April. Stephanie says, hello, second cold, frosty day from Canada. Happy I made it today. Me too. I'm happy I made it tonight too. I'm happy you're here, Stephanie. Hi, Nancy. Goddess says, love to all this morning. T tries to catch when she can. Awesome. Hello, Mimi. Do I have any? I'm drawing a blank. Don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but that's why I make notes for these kinds of things. Beautiful day. AJ, nice to see you. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you guys. If you're still digging this 8:15 on Wednesdays, or if the 9 o'clock vibe is more in alignment with you guys. A few weeks ago, over a month ago maybe, I switched. So Wednesdays is the only day that I come on this early at 8:15. Monday, Friday, I've been coming on at 9 o'clock Central. So just throw your opinions in the chat. Let me know if you miss, because I used to do this time all the time, but then my life changed. So I rearranged. And this morning I was like super rushing to get here at this time. So I'm just curious. Just curious. I have a lot of ideas and then I talk about them and then sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't. However, the astrology does always happen the way that it says it's going to. The astrology is a way to have an idea of what's to come. I've referred to it as a weather report before. I'm using the words of Pam Gregory today in what I'm about to talk about. I talk about how astrology is like a sheet of music. That's what I love about astrology is it's kind of like the playbook. It's the guide. It's like, hey, well, this is what's going to happen. So how do you want to interact with it? Like, you can't change what's coming, but you can change how you interact with it. So Susan says it's 6 here. Happy to wake up to you. Great way to start the day. Hi, Tolkien. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you as well. All right, so today we're talking about the astrology from today, Wednesday, November 27th, until next Tuesday, December 3rd. This is super thick. It's just bananas and apples. Hello, Sophia. I watched the Heart Revolution doc. Lisa watched the Heart documentary that I recommended. It was so cool. Yes. Yes. Stephanie likes this time. Okay, you get at least 30 minutes uninterrupted time. Cool. We'll see. All right, so this upcoming week, I'm going to focus on 4 main things. In the description for today, I talked about the sun trining Mars, but after I created this live event, then I did more research and I was like, oh shit, there's a fire grand trine. So we're going to talk about the fire grand trine. We're going to talk about Venus squaring Chiron. We're going to talk about Venus trining Uranus. And we have a Sagittarius New Moon coming up. So let's start first with this fire grand trine, which means that there are 3 planets in each of the 3 fire signs. all at the same degree. So this is causing an equilateral triangle shape to form between their energies. In geometry, the triangle is the strongest shape. So the grand trine is a very strong and powerful aspect. This strength is available to us this whole week through these planets in the fire grand trine. So as of today, we have the sun at 5 degrees of Sag, we have Mars at 5 degrees of Leo, and we have the North Node at 4 degrees of Aries, so just 1 degree away. And without even knowing what any of these planets are about, we can extract from the fire grand trine that there will be an increase in creative energy, higher inspiration for all, a whole bunch of self-confidence and motivation. These are all traits of the fire signs, the fire element. So now if we bring the planets into play here, we have the sun, Mars, and the North Node. So the sun in Sagittarius is helping us expand what we think is possible for ourselves. This is being harmoniously aspected by the North Node in Aries, who is helping us claim what is true and in alignment with ourselves without always putting others before ourselves. And then finishing up this grand trine is Mars in Leo. Mars is here to sustain that fire of this passionate burn. Mars is the action planet. Mars is where our ambition comes from. And he's in Leo, which is the fixed fire sign. So Mars is balancing out this grand trine, keeping the pace, tending the fire. So I guess to wrap that up, because I just kind of brushed over that. So the sun, the North Node, and Mars, this is all here to show us it's time to expand what you think is possible for yourself, because whatever you are being called towards is what's meant for you. It doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks. And Mars is here to help you keep that fire burning at a decent rate. This grand trine is going to be active through the new moon. So the new moon, depending on where you are in the world, will either occur Saturday the 30th at night or Sunday the 1st in the morning. I'm in Central Time. The new moon in Central Time peaks at 12:22 a.m. on Sunday the 1st. So the sun and the moon meet together at 9 degrees of Sagittarius. New moons represent new cycles, new beginnings, the spark of creativity that ignites you down a new path. And a new moon in Sagittarius offers the beginning of a new cycle of expansion, a new opportunity to align with universal truth, not personal opinion. Perhaps a new beginning to explore a new perspective and to use your own critical thinking to determine how something resonates with you instead of letting other people tell their stories and their experiences and put their opinions onto you. Sophia, universal truth has been a G. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Everything always comes down to universal truth. Like, you can hang on to your opinions as long as you want. You can hang on to other people's opinions as long as you want, but universal truth is always going to trump. If you know how to find where 9 degrees of Sagittarius falls within your chart, this will show you the house that is asking for a new start, the area of life where you may be able to see these changes the most. So now this fire grand trine that we've been sitting with all week, by the time we get to this new moon, this fire grand trine in regards to personal expansion and the slow burn to sustain this new journey, it's present within the new moon chart. And we're being gifted the qualities of fire as we start this new Sagittarius path, right? So the universe is gifting us creativity, inspiration, motivation, emotional warmth, self-confidence. So how are you going to use this new moon What are you ready to explore? You can look to your own natal chart for clues, right? And I just want to say that if ever in astrology, if what you have going on in your life doesn't necessarily align with what the chart says you're supposed to be doing, always follow your intuition, always follow your gut. Because astrology is a guide, it's a map, it's a sheet of music, and you are the explorer. You get to navigate the map. You have free will. You're the musician. You get to play the music that astrology is gifting you. Do you think that all of those funky jazz musicians read sheet music and follow it to a T? No, they improvise. They get a gist for what's going on. They take a look at what the key is, what everyone else is doing, and then they play to the beat of their own drum, the beat of their own saxophone, the notes of their own trumpet. And they create these beautiful soundscapes because of their free will, their intuition, what leads them down, how they want to interpret what the music is asking them to do. Does that make sense? Good morning, Lotus. Lisa loves it. Melinda loves that analogy with jazz. Thanks. That came to me this morning when I was making my notes. And let me go deeper on that now because it's making more sense. Because I know a lot of you guys maybe read into astrology when you were younger and then you tucked it away for some time and now you're coming back to it. And I'm in the process of coming back to music. I used to be very into music, tucked it away for a decade or more, and now I'm starting to come back to it. So let's compare astrology to reading sheet music, right? At the beginning, either when you are first starting or if you are reigniting this study in your life, you might feel the need to rely a little bit more heavily on the astrology, to rely a little bit more heavily on the sheet music. You don't trust yourself yet. You need that structure to get you going in that way. So if you're first starting out and you want to learn, okay, this new moon is at 9 degrees of Sagittarius. What does that mean in my chart? Okay, Sagittarius equals this word and this word and this word. Okay, it's happening in my 10th house. This means this and this. Like if you want to be that dedicated with astrology now, go for it. But eventually you're going to be able to interpret it on your own. And eventually you're going to just hear Sagittarius. You're going to have a general idea of what that means to you, for you, based on the experiences that you've had in the past. And you'll be able to just kind of flow with it. So that's what I'm saying. Same thing with music, right? I'm relearning how to play my bass and how to play my guitar. And I'm like staring at these notes like, what is this one? And eventually I'll just be able to hear it and go. So that's how I'm relating astrology to music today. Anyway, I also want to focus on what Venus is doing this week. Venus is going to make two significant aspects, first to Chiron and then to Uranus. So firstly, Venus in Capricorn will square Chiron in Aries. And this happens tomorrow, Thursday, November 28th. Venus in Capricorn places value on structure. She values tradition and respect. She will be in tension with Chiron in Aries, who represents deep wounding related to our independence or our self-worth. And the scenario that came to mind was that Venus here represents our family values. This is how it's always been done, and this is how the family expects it to continue to be done. And I see Chiron in Aries as like the teenager, young adult coming into their own, realizing that their values don't 100% line up with their family values. And Chiron in Aries is seeking their own independence, grappling with the notion of, is it okay for me to feel this strongly in tension with these traditional views that my family told me about? And I want to remind you that whatever you are being passionately called to is meant for you. That's literally your heart speaking to you. Especially with this fire grand trine active at this time. So whatever ignites you, whatever gives you butterflies in your stomach, whatever might cause you to feel that you are meant to champion, it's meant for you. It's meant for you. Permission slip, here it is. And I want you to know that every single human on this planet has that right of freedom and deserves that right of freedom, of being free to champion the causes that they believe they are here to champion. Even those who are passionate about the things that might be directly opposite of the things that you are passionate about. There is a place for everybody. There is a purpose for every spark of light. There is a need that every bit of creativity, every bit of inspiration within any human, there's a need that will be met by that specific fire. And I'm making a bigger deal out of this because in the States, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I know a lot of people aren't 100% on the same page with their family. Some might be 0% on the same page as their family. And some of you guys, if you are 100% on the same page, I'm so happy for you. I've never experienced that. I've never been in 100% agreement with the people around me. I know what it feels like to settle for 75%. Like, okay, yeah, you get the gist of what I'm saying, but you're not here. You're not where I'm at. And I kind of love that. Right? If you can relate to this, sit with this. It makes me feel unique and special, and it makes me feel needed in the world when I have opinions that other people aren't there with me. That kind of like, oh, okay, so this is what I'm here to spread. This is the message that I'm here to spread. Because if I'm having this idea, there's other people that are having this idea, right? So what I believe is the first key to alleviating any discomfort around disagreements, especially around traditional values and personal self-worth. First step would be to own your own power and own your own path. It is the insecurity within the self that surfaces as attacking opposing views. When you are insecure with what you are doing, when you're questioning, am I on the right path? Am I supposed to be doing this? That's when it's more common to attack anything opposite of what you believe because it's a threat to what you stand for. The more secure you are in what you believe, the more accepting you will be able to be with those that you disagree with, especially those who matter in your life. And the easier it will be to accept that they may feel the same way when you share your opposing views. Suddenly we found common ground, right? It starts with the self, getting clear on what you stand for, owning it, saying, okay, if I have the right to stand for this, they have the right to stand for that. They make me feel uncomfortable because they have opposing views. Maybe I make them feel just as uncomfortable because I have opposing views. So it starts with the self, getting clear on what you believe. It doesn't start with the other person's opinion. Is this what the North Node in Aries has been trying to teach us for the last year and a half? Is this what the South Node in Libra has been trying to teach us for the last year and a half? Maybe it's time to settle into that a little bit deeper before we move on to Pisces Virgo in January. I digress. I must be feeling the intensity of this fire grand trine today. So we were talking about Venus squaring Chiron. That's where all that came from. Hi, Anik, and good morning, Debbie. I just want to let you guys know if you ever hop in a little bit later, I record all these sessions and they will be up on my YouTube channel, so you can always watch the replays. Oh, and that's right. And I wanted to mention, if you were not with us on Monday we pulled some cards, and the message of the cards, like the question that we asked on Monday was, how do we align with people that we disagree with? So if you are coming up to a family holiday tomorrow where you know you're going to be surrounded by people who have opposing views from you, check out that replay. It's on my YouTube channel. It just went up on Monday. Hi, Mari. Thanks for saying hi. Allison got that fire emoji. Sophia says, this is what you always say. Everything happens for us can also be extended onto this. Like, this is here for me to ask the questions, to test how flexible and open and equanimous I can be. Did I say that right? To learn to stand in my truth with love and not violence. Yes. Yes. Venus is also going to make a trine to Uranus. So we were talking about Venus square Chiron. That's where all that came from. And then that's happening tomorrow on Thanksgiving. Then we have our new moon, Saturday night, Sunday morning, depending on where you are in the world. Right after the new moon, on Monday, December 2nd, Venus in Capricorn forms a trine to Uranus in Taurus. So here we bring back part of that triangle, right? We were talking about the grand trine in the beginning. We have that fire grand trine. A trine is when two planets are 120 degrees apart. In this case, they're in the same element. Most trines are in the same element, but there's always those outliers when it's at the very end or beginning of the sign. But in this case, Venus and Uranus are both in earth elements, and they're going to work together harmoniously. So Venus in Capricorn, she has grounded values. She's interested in long-term commitments. But Uranus in Taurus, who is supporting her right here, Uranus in Taurus brings unexpected change in our stability, in our values, and in our personal resources. So this aspect is the day after the new moon. So right after we set out on this new adventure to explore as we search for truth and to grow our own experience, it appears that Venus and Uranus work together to offer an unexpected, practical breakthrough that can benefit you in the long term. So keep your eyes out for this on the days following the new moon. This doesn't necessarily mean that on Monday the 2nd, something is going to hop into your life. You know, it could happen a day before the new moon. As the planets come into their aspect, the energies build. As they get closer, the energy peaks, and then the energy dissipates. So again, this is a weather report. This doesn't mean at the exact time on December 2nd is when it's going to happen. Just keep it in your antenna if this is resonating to you. I invite you to be open to surprises. Be open to things that don't make sense, specifically in earthly things such as financial opportunities and Venusian things like relationships. You could have unexpected breakthroughs in either of those opportunities. I advise you to try new things. We have the Sagittarius New Moon. Coupled with a Uranus transit, this means it's time to break out of the routine. It's time to expand, and it's time to do something unexpected. So in review, this week gives us the fire grand trine. This is the strength, creativity, and confidence to expand in a way that aligns with us as individuals. We have the Sagittarius New Moon that is piggybacking right on that energy with a fertile new opportunity to let go of outdated stories and embrace a fresh, expansive path. And the Venus aspects might first challenge our sense of self-worth because she wants us to deepen our self-acceptance. And then Venus partners with Uranus to bring practical yet unexpected breakthroughs. So my general advice for this week is to be willing to step out of your comfort zone and to be on the lookout for common ground. And if this message has resonated with you and has unlocked anything within your own wisdom through my translation of the astrology, I gratefully welcome your energy exchanges in the form of donations. Your support helps me continue serving in this way. So thank you guys so much. We will transition into the oracle cards at this point. And what I felt is that there's a whole lot of fire going on, and there's a whole lot of earth going on. Fire grand trine, as well as the Sag New Moon. And then we also have earth. We have Venus in Capricorn squaring Chiron in Aries, another fire sign. And we have Venus trining Uranus and earth. So we're going to use two different decks. The first deck, we're going to focus on how to work with the fire energy this week. And then, surprise, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. The second deck, we're going to focus on how to use the earth energy this week. So we will see what comes out. And April says, synchronicity. I just pulled Taking Risks from the Sacred Destiny Oracle. Risk-taking seems huge right now, to be honest. I think this has a lot to do with the Sag New Moon coming up. I think this has a lot to do with the fire grand trine happening right now. And then the Venus-Uranus approaching trine is going to help with all of that. I'm dismantling my Patreon Embody Astrology group, so this is not an ad to join, but I just hosted a meeting yesterday with my Patreon people, and we were all talking about the Sagittarius New Moon, and every single person in this meeting is like on the precipice of starting this huge new thing. Like one of the girls is going to maybe go just live on a farm for a few months to go connect with nature because she's burnt out from her teaching job, right? I'm in the process of doing some business changes, but they're going day by day, and I don't want to spoil any surprises because I don't know what's going to change. There's just so many unexpected breakthroughs, and it's time to take a risk. It's time to just jump in and do it, because if your heart is pulling you towards it, it's meant for you, and it will work out because it's meant for you. If you keep following the passion, if you keep following the desire. I also wanted to let you guys know, because a lot of you were with me on Monday, and a lot of you guys said, yes, you would be interested. So I'm just going to be transparent about, I recently rewatched the Thrive documentaries, and I was watching both of them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect time to help people who have never seen this stuff integrate this kind of stuff into their life. Essentially, the Thrive documentaries are about how free energy is available and has been available for a long time, and why it has been suppressed. So I was watching them with Matt, and I'm like, well, what do you think about a view party? And he's like, yeah, I think that'd be great. So I threw this out there on Monday about the potential of we all come together on like a Friday night, Saturday night, have a little documentary, spiritual documentary party on like a YouTube live. And we can like chat on the side, so that if you guys have questions, I could be like, oh yeah, here's my opinion, and no, this means this. And then afterwards, I think it would be like a premium offering where we'd hop on a Zoom call all together to like dissect and talk about everything that we learned from the documentary. So I threw that out there on Monday. A handful of you guys said that you would be interested. I am interested. I'm trying really hard not to let this motivation fizzle out, because in order to do this, I have to learn how to use OBS Studio. It's like a program where you can stream stuff. And this has been in my awareness for years, and I've just been putting it off. So I'm trying to first figure out how I'm going to do this with you guys, and then I'll schedule it and I'll throw it out there. But I think I really do want to do this. Yeah. Long story short. So Sophia, Matt loved it. Matt is all about like, dude is waking up to spirituality. He's been aware of like other things in the world for some time. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to have someone who's like excited to consume the same type of content that I'd like to consume. So that's it. Cards. Sorry if this is awkward for you guys. This is super thick, but it's pretty good. We're first going to use Violet 108. is a whiz with OBS. I know she is, and I know Greg is also, and I know that Greg Phillips like teaches OBS classes. I walk to the beat of my own drum. I need it now. Yeah. So I'll figure it out. It's not rocket science. I just have like 200 other projects going on at one time because that's how I've designed my life. We're going to move on to the cards now. Sophia, that's so funny. Sophia said, that's so sweet. Must be nice to wake up with Jacqui by your side, spiritually. Maybe even skip the part where you feel like you're going nuts. Now he's going through all of that. He's going through all of that. Oh my gosh. We watched another documentary last night that maybe we'll transition into later. I'm not going to tell you guys which documentary it is. But there's a part about time travel, and we were watching it, and it's at the very end, and it's just kind of like brushes over it like it's fact. And he was like, what? Time travel? And I'm like, yeah, you don't know? This is kind of like common knowledge nowadays. So we're going to use the Animal Apothecary deck, and we're first going to ask how to work with the fire energy this week. And I wanted to use the way that we do the cards here. The first deck gives us 3 cards, and then the second deck gives us 1 card. And the fire energy is much more like in our face. So we're going to use the Animal Apothecary deck just to ask how to work with the fire energy this week that is in alignment with our personal highest good. Okay. I'm not going to say that every time. Mari, I did. I saw your question, then I talked about 100 other things. How did I get into astrology? Life. I grew up in the 90s, and so it was all over pop culture in the 90s, right? So I knew I was a Taurus. And then I was working at a retail store, and one of my coworkers, this fabulous gay man, was so into astrology. So me and him would like gossip about boys. Like, oh my gosh, well, what does it mean if you're a Gemini and you have a crush on a Cancer? What does that mean? And so like, I've been boy crazy my whole life. So that like got me interested in astrology. And then the world shut down, and I had time to research, and that was my topic of choice. And then everything just started making sense. And I started listening to YouTube astrologers. That's when I found Pam Gregory and other people that I no longer listen to. So like I've revolved with what astrologers resonate with me, and you can do the same. But that's when everything that the astrologers were saying, I was like, oh, this makes sense. We're not all doomed. This is just part of the Mother Earth rebirthing process. And like it helped me make sense of what the hell was going on. And it took away a lot of my fear, which brings us right back to what I was talking about in the beginning. Like astrology is happening. It's showing you literally like, this is what's coming. How are you going to use it? You know, it doesn't have to be doom and gloom, whatever. So that's how I got into astrology. Hello, Maggie from Arizona. Mercury's retrograde. I was born with Mercury retrograde. So I believe that this is when I am firing. I can't stop talking today. I feel nuts. But Trina, yeah, she knows I'm a manifester. I'm here to just... Feel free to send your energy into these cards. We're going to ask how to work with all the fire energy this week in a way that aligns with our highest good. If there's a project that you are considering getting a jump start on, if you're ready to just like dive in with both feet into something, I would think about that with this fire energy. We have a fire new moon, fire grand trine. And if not, just go with the whole thing. How to work with this fire energy this week. So the way that I do my readings here on Insight Timer are group readings. So these 3 cards are going to be for everybody. But I like to give you guys a playground to play with your intuition. So after the 3 cards fall out, I'm going to show you the backs of the 3 cards. So you'll see this exact same image 3 times. It's like a card deck. It's how the cards work. I say that because so many times I say, I'm going to show you the backs of the cards, and people are like, I saw the same image. Nothing changed. So I'll show you the backs of the cards. And then I want you to, actually, you can do whatever the hell you want. I invite you to play with your intuition just to see if any of the cards feel different to you, if you notice something different, maybe like a certain thought enters your mind when I show a certain card, or maybe something changes in your house when I hold up a certain card. Your phone might ring, you might fart, you might burp, something like that. If anything changes, that could be the energy saying, pay attention to that card. But if nothing changes, your intuition is not broken. It just means that the whole reading holds an equal amount of importance for you. Sophia, I saw that you donated earlier and I didn't say it. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate you, as well as Melinda. Thank you so kindly for your support. Lisa has no fire aspects in her chart. I feel like I need some fire to get me going. Well, how can we work with the fire energy this week? I'll show you the backs of the cards. Let us know in the chat which cards are resonating most strongly with you. Here is the back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. And the back of card number 3. How to work with the fire energy this week. I'll show the cards one more time just in case, but let us know in the chat which cards are resonating with you. Here is the back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. And the back of card number 3. My eyes just went right to Rochelle's comment. 2 gave her shivers. Are any of you guys line dancers? You guys know the line dance to Shivers by Ed Sheeran? That's a fun one. All right, let's see who is working with which cards. Trina's working with all 3. Allison, 1 and 3. Tolkien, 1 and 2. April, 1 and 3. Nancy, 2, perhaps 1. Rochelle, 2 gave her those shivers. 3, strong pull. Nicole, all 3. Shani, 3. Susan, 1 and 3. Lisa, 1 and 3. Felt strong shivers around my heart. What? Lotus, 2 and 3. Leia, 2 and 3. Wanda, 2. Stephanie, 2 is meant for me with the double heart. Maggie's got 2 with that pink heart as well. Mimi, 3. Yawning. Goddess, all 3. Melinda, 2 and 3. Anique, 2. All right, well, let's see how we can work with the fire energy this week. I have something to say after we're done with all 3 about elements. If someone can remind me, because I'm probably going to forget when I get caught up in this whole channeling thing. Yeah, I have something to say about elements after I read all 3. Okay, so how to work with the fire energy this week in the way that serves our highest good. Card number 1 is card number 23, and the message is perception from Ostrich. Ostrich speaks to us about perception. The image of burying one's head in the ground conjures a feeling of the inability to face a wider perspective, like Sagittarius. To be fair, the ostrich burrows her head in the ground not to hide, but to rotate her eggs. When this card comes to you in a reading, however, it is the symbolism of burying one's head in the ground that we are meditating upon. Studies have been conducted to show that a hill will spatially be perceived as steeper when a person is feeling sad. Our emotion literally shapes our perception. we do not see life objectively. Instead, the way we see our physical reality is influenced by our internal emotional experience. When a situation reminds your subconscious of an uncomfortable memory, your subconscious will start to shape what you see through the lens of past experience. Ostrich asks you to look at your current situation and recognize what perceptions you may be projecting onto it. One way is to begin to shift your perception. One way to begin to shift your perception is to own that your understanding is never fully accurate. Instead of drowning in uncomfortable feelings, step back and understand that your emotions do not dictate ultimate truth. Realize the control you have over your thoughts about a situation. This control is strengthened the more you become cognitively aware of your perception by questioning it. Start to notice the autopilot chatter in your mind. Listen to how it belittles you and other people around you. As the Buddhist meditation teacher and psychologist Tara Branch teaches, the primitive brain continuously hijacks our ability to be present in the moment. The thoughts are real, but rarely do they hold any validity. Tell yourself, don't believe the thoughts, over and over again. This not only snaps you out of the autopilot zombie mind, but also starts to reprogram your brain and put you in charge of your perception. Ostrich's medicine asks you to consistently practice this awareness, and you will transition from being a victim of your thoughts to becoming a master of your perception. So this is the first card telling us how to use the fire energy this week. Something that I didn't discuss for this upcoming week's astrology is Mercury retrograde, because we're in it. It started on Monday. We're in it, right? So Mercury represents your perception, your mind, your thoughts in Sagittarius. Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius right now. Fire, right? We're asking about fire. So how can you utilize fire this week to your highest good? Change your perception. Okay, so this Thrive documentary that I'm going to host a watch party on, it gave the most understandable definition for critical thinking that I have ever heard. It finally made sense. Like critical thinking, we keep hearing it, right? Public school system loves teaching critical thinking. And then they give you one way to think, my opinion, as a public school teacher, ex-public school teacher. But this documentary was saying that critical thinking is the ability to hold simultaneously two opposing thoughts long enough to be able to form your own opinion. That is quite literally what Mercury in Sagittarius wants us to do. Sagittarius is about expanding your perception in a way of holding two opposing things at the same time. So this is not holding my opinion and the opinion of the other side that my side says. You see the difference between this is what my side says, and I'm going to go to the source and see what this side is saying. Why is it so difficult to do that? Why do we all want to just be affirmed in our beliefs? Is it because we're insecure in our belief? So we need more validation that what we're doing is the right thing and what they're doing is the wrong thing? Do we need that validation? If you need that validation, that might prove insecurity in what you stand for. But if you have the strength to say, this is what I believe, I'm actually curious to see why someone would think the exact opposite of what I think. What is it that would make them want to follow this path? That shows that you actually stand for what you stand for. So how can you use the fire energy this week? Open your perception. Change your perception. Understand that emotions and logic are two different things. It doesn't make one better than the other. But emotions, in my opinion, are like your guides. They show you what you are passionate about, right? If something is enraging you right now this month in the US, do something with that rage. Don't just keep pointing the finger at the people who made this rageful thing happen. Do something with it. But that doesn't mean that your emotions equal the truth. It means that your emotions are showing you what you are meant to do with this uncomfortable trigger in your life. Does that make sense? Susan says, whoa. Shani says, whoa. Lisa needed to hear this today. Maggie needs a boost. Well, I got 1,000,000 amp watts of positive energy all the time. Come hang out with us all the time. I can make anything into, it's going to be okay. Oh, you're going through this? This is what you're learning. It's going to be okay. Sophia saying the same with Libra energy, holding two opposing views. Yeah, and April agrees. Sophia, so have a more complete view and softer opinions. Let's get curious instead of defensive. Yes. So if you find it difficult to get curious, because, right, like I've been there. Matt called me out for being defensive this morning. I get defensive. If you catch yourself unable to get curious and ask, and if you feel like you have to defend your point, my life experience has shown me that the more I get like that, the more I get defensive, it's because I'm trying to prove it to myself that I'm right, instead of accepting that another opposite worldview might be okay for them. What if this is just okay for me and it doesn't have to apply to everybody in order for us to all get along? Radical. I have so many opinions. Leslie said, the number one back resonated with me and now I know why. I shut down 3 weeks ago to block out negativity and bury my head. Working on quiet and intentions. Thank you, I'm a Libra. Love it. 100% April. April saw this quote on social media. The left wing and the right wing belong to the same bird. 100%. So why don't we all just get together, power to the people, because we're smart enough and we don't need anyone telling us what to do with our lives and to put regulations on us. That's where I'm at. I want to just do what I want to do. I don't want to follow your rules. I'm a good, integral human. And I truly believe that every single human on this planet is integral. People act through their shadow side because they are put under so much stress and limitation, so they feel like they have to rebel. And then sometimes they rebel against the people that the media tell us to hate, instead of rebelling against the people who are causing all this in the first place. So passionate today. It's been fun to share opposing views for quite some time. It's fun. It's fun when you can share opposing views with people who are not trying to get you on their side. Oh, but you're wrong. You think that you're wrong. Mm-mm. No, you think that? Cool, do something with that. Bring that light to the world. You shine over there. I'm going to shine over here. And that's fine, because my people will find me, your people will find you, and then we'll all achieve enlightenment. I got to keep going with this reading. But Stephanie said, heard number 23, I'm grateful for this retrograde to be offered a second chance to go back and do it right. Closing doors to move forward fresh. I am leveling up. I love it. April loves the poem by John Rodell, My Brain and Heart Divorced. My brain and heart divorced. Ooh, that sounds enticing. Sophia, power to the people. We will not be divided. You know, that sounds great. That sounds wonderful. It takes personal accountability to stop saying that the people are the problem. Open your perspective. Well, why would those people think that thing? Lisa says, so true. I grew up not being allowed an opinion. Now I have very strong ones that I get defensive about. I know it's because I still need the validation that I am okay to have my opinion. Thank you for owning that, Lisa. You know, it takes grit to own. I get defensive at times, and that's fine. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It's just noticing in yourself. So how can you get firm in what you believe? Lisa, I would heal that inner child. I would go back in a meditative state and talk to her and say, little Lisa, you can have an opinion. Who told you that you can't have an opinion? Let's go have a talk with them with love and compassion. Let's go explain why you want an opinion with them. I forgot I was going to get pissed in this apple. You want this apple, buddy? Okay. Allison, this card pulled my sacral chakra to it before the reading. God, I have so many things I want to say right now. We're 51 minutes in and I've gotten through one card. We gotta keep going. But I'm on fire. Tell us, Tolkien. I'm going to finish the reading because I'm sure more messages will come up that will trigger more things I want to talk about. And then we'll see how long I can talk at the end. I'm telling all you guys to follow your heart, whatever passion is calling you. That's meant for you. And I feel this passion. I'm like, no, but I can't do it. I love calling myself out. Stephanie, thank you so much for your energy exchange. I appreciate and receive your support. Card number 2, how to work with the fire energy this week. Card number 2 is card number 23. It says see beyond the past. And the perception card brought up that exact thing. Don't look to past perceptions to predict what's coming. So let's see what card number 2 from the beautiful Black Swan has to say. April, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. The fable of the ugly duckling. This is coming up for what Lisa just said too about childhood. The fable of the ugly duckling tells of a baby swan that nested with baby ducks. All the ducks made fun of little swan for how different he looked, which made him feel inherently not good enough. Little swan compared himself to what a duck should look like, rather than the own nature of his true self, a swan. Sadly, little swan began to assume the identity of the ugly duckling. As time went on, little swan grew and became the most beautiful black swan, and some would even say more magnificent than the common ducks that bullied him. This card is the story of what happened to the black swan as an adult, reflected in the water in his heartbroken child self. Despite how gorgeous Black Swan became, he suffered from severe shame and feelings of unworthiness. He could not see the glorious truth of himself. He became crippled by the delusion that something was inherently wrong with him. He believed a wicked distortion that diminished his worth. He was utterly unaware of his captivating beauty and could honor neither himself nor the gifts the great mystery bestowed upon him. He became obsessed with outside validation and compared himself to the other winged creatures. The ugly duckling finally woke up to his true self as the beautiful black swan and asks you to do the same. Swan's medicine asks you to accept that you feel your insecurities, but do not submit to them. Whenever you feel small, it is not a reality. It is the old story and the programming that brainwashed you. Please wake up from the illusion and honor what the Great Spirit gifted you, the gift of yourself. No one in the world is like you. Own that you are a rare miracle. Yeah, fire energy wants you to run passionately towards what you are feeling pulled towards, regardless of what other people's expectations are of you, regardless of the boxes that you grew up within, that you have constantly been trying to shrink yourself to fit into. You have your own unique magic. You have your own unique message. You have your own unique fire, your own unique light, and that is the most beautiful part about you. It doesn't mean that you are meant to fit in to traditional things that you were raised on. Lisa, great card. Anique is mind blown. Lotus is mind blown. Lisa loves it. Anique says, I honestly can't believe I intuited this card. I've always felt like the ugly duckling. And is this not so on point with what we were talking about on Monday? 100% Anique. Yeah. Anique and I met one-on-one on Monday. And this applies to so many of us, is that we're raised in other people's expectations. And then we constantly try to fit into that box our whole life, because we'll be good enough if we can achieve what that person wanted to achieve. We will have made it if we can accomplish what that person thinks that a successful accomplishment looks like. And it is super hard to break out of what other people think is success and what you think is success. Like, you really have to get into yourself to learn what you think success is, because it's been blasted in your face your whole life. Right? Lisa says, hi, Piston. No, can you see his tail wagging a little bit? Yeah. Rochelle, Susan, and Lotus, I appreciate your support. Thank you guys so much. Rochelle, that brought you to tears? I love crying. I was crying this morning. AJ, that was meant for me. Josette's mind is blown. Rochelle, this is the Animal Apothecary deck. And Mari says that she was the black sheep of my original family. I feel like I attract those types of people as well. I feel like a black sheep. I wonder if every single person feels like a black sheep in their family, because so many people, it's so common to feel misunderstood. I don't know. I might be projecting my own life onto everyone else, but I feel like I do attract a lot of black sheepers, because we're here to do something different. We're the hairbringers of change. And sometimes it's lonely. Man, sometimes it's lonely. Susan, what does your son do that breaks your heart? You can't have any. You ate the apple that came from this. Stephanie says, that went deep for me. I was moving my bookshelf around and the book fell out. The only word that I read was swan. I thought, what does that mean? And here we are. Oh, Stephanie, thank you for sharing that way that intuition can work. Thank you for sharing your experience so other people can put it in their memory banks and then maybe remember. Oh, a book fell out. It says frog. I have no idea what that means. Just that dog. That's my dog, Piston. Susan says that her son thinks that he's the black sheep and it breaks her heart. I get that, right? Like, of course it would break your heart, right? I'm raising you. I'm giving you everything that I know how to give, and you think it doesn't align with you. Like, what does that say about me as a mother? I get that. So the same thing that I was talking about earlier with family, right? Venus square Chiron, and critical thinking, holding opposing views. What would happen if you got curious instead of getting defensive? Defensive would be, but you are in this family, and I think that I know what's best for you, right? That could be the defense. What would happen if you got curious? Well, why does he feel different? Well, what is different about him? Well, what does he believe? Well, what does he want to achieve in his life? And I'm speaking through like what teenage Jacqui would have wanted from her family, who I felt like I didn't align with. I had something else. If it doesn't align with what you see for yourself, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. Like, if the common thing in my mind right now is going to college. Like, a lot of parents come from the tradition from when the school system actually was beneficial, or like they believed it was beneficial. And so like college path was the way to go. But my opinion, I used to teach in the public schools. The system is broken. The system was never designed to thrive. The system was designed to whatever reason. So like if a person does not want to go to college, the parents cannot wrap their head around that because they're like, but you have to go to college. In order to succeed, you have to go to college. Get curious. Well, son, what if you didn't go to college? What would you do? What would you follow? That whole thing. Curiosity, I think, is wonderful. Stephanie, that card was number 23. Card number 2 was card number 23. And Josette, thank you so much for your donation. Anyone who sends a donation today will get a book dive. So either from this deck or the second deck that we will use. We're going long today. We're here. I got the fire passion burning within me. I'll give you guys a book dive as a thank you. So I'll open the book, I'll find a couple sentences that are meant for you, and I'll type them in response. So thank you. Lisa, kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many in the world. Anne of Green Gables. I always think of this quote when I'm here with you guys. Yes. And the more you align to your authenticity, the more you're going to find your kindred spirits. If you keep trying to fit into the box of everybody else, you're going to find people that are not like you because you're trying to fit into their box. Thank you so much, Goddess. I also appreciate your donation. Card number 3, how to work with the fire energy this week in alignment with your highest good. Card number 3 is card number 8, small steps, big accomplishments. And this is from Turtle. Excuse me. Sea turtle migrate thousands of miles each year while swimming at a slow, methodical pace. The key medicine is that what you wish to manifest will take dedicated, consistent, and patient effort. Land turtle reinforces this message about the slow process toward your desire, further speaking to us about how grounded this point of view is. Nothing represents being grounded quite like land turtle, built sturdy and close to Mother Earth. Small, consistent efforts will lead to long-lasting success. Be patient. Do not rush for immediate rewards. Understand that immediate gratification cannot sustain what is needed for long-term success. Shortcuts yield short-term success, and instant gratification is for the weak mind. Sea turtle is not instantly born in the sea swimming toward his goal. He must first build his muscles by slowly breaking out of the shell and journeying toward his desire to be in the great sea. Allow things to develop at their own pace and plan for a lengthy dedication toward your goal. This is a very promising card as it speaks to happy results. You are building something great, and its full fruition needs time. Turtle's medicine shares that slow and steady efforts are of the most importance to you. Something powerful is in development. What is built slowly stands stronger. This card not only linked the earth energy into what we were asking about fire, but this card to me, 100%, this is Mars in Leo saying slow burn, one small step at a time. So how to work with the fire energy this week, slow burn. What kept coming up throughout this is if it's something that you are truly, passionately, authentically aligned to, the fire to keep going will always be there. If it's something that you're doing to achieve a quick result, you're going to burn out because that fire, that inner passion is what is going to drive what is in alignment with your authentic self. That's why this saying of like, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life kind of thing. Like if you're working to earn a paycheck, you're going to burn out because you hate what you're doing. If you are following your heart's desire, if you are working on something that you are actually passionate about, the bullshit in the background doesn't drag you down that much. Does that make sense? So how to work with this fire energy this week? Perception, see beyond the past, small steps, big accomplishments. I wanted to say something about elements. Okay, so we asked about fire, and we're asking about earth. And what I thought was interesting is that we had two birds. So that is air coming into this reading. And then the turtle is water. Here's water blending with earth. So I just saw that at the very beginning and I was like, oh, interesting. So how to work with fire and earth is to utilize everything in harmony. So it's not about focusing all on the fire and like going and burning out. It's keeping everything balanced. However, the perception card made me think about what's going on in Sagittarius now. Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. New moon in Sagittarius also wants us to expand our perception. That's what Sag does. Sag expands. It's Jupiter energy. Jupiter is big. Jupiter looks for universal truth. Seeing beyond the past made me feel like Chiron and Aries, right? Chiron is the wounded healer. In Aries, the sense of self, this black swan, it is the Chiron story, right? Chiron in your early life makes you feel wounded. The ugly duckling, right? His identity was the ugly duckling. But then as he grew and as he realized like, oh, I was never supposed to be like them. I made myself think I was supposed to be like them. That's the Chiron healing. So here's Chiron and Aries coming to speak to us. Your past does not dictate your future. Your past ignites your future. It pushes you in the direction you're supposed to be going. And then Mars in Leo wants us to take small steps and do the slow burn. It's okay if it doesn't all happen today. And the passion won't burn out. If it's honestly aligned with you, the passion won't burn out. Well, how do I know if it's aligned with me? Fuck around and find out. Try. Step into it. Try it. And then if you start to burn out, maybe this is a little bit out of alignment. What do I feel in alignment with now? Mess around and find out. Goddess and Susan, thank you guys so much for your donations. I'm going to pull one more card from one more deck, and then we'll see if I feel like blabbing. Maybe. Alexandra loves the turtle. Sophia, I love this bringing it all together. Like, okay, but take it slow. Yeah, I needed to hear that. I was crying this morning because I was rushing to get here, and then I didn't like how I was acting. Like I said something real short to Matt, and I was like, I'm sorry. I don't like how I am when I rush. And this is definitely what. And he was like, everything's going to get done. It's okay. But I got to brush my hair and make my smoothie. Maggie just painted sea turtle for my twin brother's wedding gift. I'm excited to give it to him. Our relationship has been on the rocks for a while. Well, maybe you guys are now ready to make the final descent into the sea so you guys can go swim together in the sea of emotions. Inga, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate you. Anik says the turtle card was a good reminder for me. I look for evidence that I'm on the right path, and that's not often there for me in the way I understand it. So I doubt. Just turtle along if it feels right. Yeah. Am I enjoying myself? Well, here I am. Okay, so that was the Animal Apothecary deck asking about fire. We also got some earth stuff going on this week. So we're going to use the Ancient Stones Oracle to ask how to work with the earth energy this week. So I had to take a breath there. I'm on it today and I feel great. Yes, earth energy. So we're going to use the Ancient Stones Oracle just to get one more card. So feel free to send your energy into this deck, asking your highest self, the divine, the universe, your guides, your angels, your animals, whoever you work with. How do I work with the earth energy this week in a way that is in alignment with my highest good? Earth energy this week is Venus in Capricorn. She is squaring Chiron in Aries, and she is also trining Uranus in Taurus. Gail, thank you so much for your donation. If you guys have been enjoying today's session, if it has been benefiting you, I do appreciate any energy exchanges you choose to provide in the form of donations. They really do help me come here and keep doing this kind of work for you guys in a way that fills my greatest energy so I can give more freely. You know what I'm saying? You can donate here on Insight Timer, or I do have PayPal and Venmo links in my Insight Timer bio. I also have an Amazon wish list that's just fun. Most of it is for pistons, so if you guys are animal lovers, then maybe check out the fun treats you can get for piston if you want to help them out. That's it. I also have changed my Patreon. I changed my Patreon. So I was hosting a group, like a astrology group thing on Patreon. And that is no longer feeling exciting to me. So I'm pivoting. So if you would like to support me on a monthly basis, I have a low tier on Patreon where you can just throw me a few bucks every month just to say, hey, Jacqui, I love you. Here's some support. That's appreciated. Or if you are a replay kind of person and you watch my YouTube replays, if the ads are bugging you, I'm starting to now upload my videos onto my Patreon. So there's a second tier where you can get ad-free videos. And I also might have some more things in the works in January that I don't know if I want to talk about yet, because I don't want to say it and then change my mind and confuse you guys, because I'm confusing myself 24/7. So Chris, thank you so much for your donation. I so appreciate all the support that you guys offer. I really do. I really do. Let's see how the universe would like us to work with the Earth energy this week. This is from the Ancient Stones Oracle, and the card is Pave Your Own Way. Leadership, courage, forge, don't follow. I just want to say Venus is in Capricorn. Capricorn is cardinal Earth. Cardinal signs are the ones that get the ball rolling, the ones that pave your own way. The Giant's Causeway is a captivating ancient volcanic formation in Northern Ireland that's cloaked in many a myth. One story speaks of the great Finn McCool, who created it as a bridge to Scotland so he could fight another giant named Benidonner. Pave Your Own Way is a card of boldness and leadership. It's one that invites you to do things in your own way and to bravely go where perhaps no one else has gone before. Maybe you are the first one in your family system to do something new? Or perhaps you're just the black sheep of the flock. What the hell is happening? Embrace your uniqueness, journey courageously into the unknown, and do it in a way that only you can. How are you being called to step forward and lead? What kind of leader do you wish you'd had while you were growing up? What kind of leader do you wish you had now? How can you be that for yourself and for others who are just like you now? What new places are you being called to explore? What are you being called to do differently? How can you refrain from following others, step out of the box, and lead? So this gives a soul inquiry question. If you were feeling bold and courageous, what would you do? What I love about that card is it is playing so much on both. All this fire grand trine, Sag new moon, and the earth. It's Capricorn. It's building for the long term. It's taking the first few steps, new moon, first few steps to build the long-term consistency that you desire. So the earth energy, Venus and Capricorn right now, she wants us to look at like, what do I want the long term to look like? Maybe we'll take some small steps and build it brick by brick so that this is actually going to be sustainable. Maybe we don't need to knee jerk and try to fix it all right now because holy shit, the world's about to burn down. maybe we don't need to do that, because what happened in the past isn't necessarily what's going to happen in the future, because we have the ability to build it all brick by brick. And what we decide to do consciously with our effort day in and day out is what is going to shape the future. And maybe to start all that off is to change your perception on a topic. Danielle, late reaction, but I love what you said about small, consistent actions making change. Well, that's what the Earth card wanted us to hear again as well. Lisa's mind is blown. Teresa, heh. Sophia, seriously. Kat's got all the hearts. Stephanie, that swan again with all the hearts. Jody, oh my, this is powerful to me. Yes. Mari, don't follow the sheep. Be a black sheep. If you were feeling bold and courageous, Stephanie, what would you do? Goddess, wow. Stephanie, I've been asking myself the last week, what am I creating that is long-lasting? Ooh, what am I creating that is long-lasting? Yeah, that's Venus and Capricorn energy for you. Venus entered Capricorn. I don't know, sometime in Scorpio season. My calendar is on Sagittarius season. Venus is going to be in Capricorn until Saturday, December 7th. So that doesn't mean you have to stop planning your future on that date, but just know that that's how long you have it. Lisa has chills. Don't know whether I want to cry or whoop. A bit of both, I think. Gina, yep, it is really burning. And if so, then maybe that's good. And stand strong in the fire. Karen, I actually read the Black Swan card wrong as see beyond your path. Maybe that's what your awareness is telling you to do right now. See beyond your path. Is this what you think is possible for you? What if you're out here? What if you can go out here? It's not feeling flowy. It's not feeling flowy. I'm going to blab for a minute and see if it feels flowy. If it does, I'll go with it. If it doesn't, I'm not going to force it. About all these opinions. I'll just start. So, that's the end of the reading. If you guys came here for the reading, thanks. See ya. I'll be back on Monday next week. So we watched this. I'm just gonna start going. I might be here for some time. Feel free to hang out if you want. We watched Thrive and Thrive 2 within a few days of each other. And I was practicing my critical thinking by saying, anytime I consume any sort of media, I try to intuit why this person is sharing this message, right? What's in it for them? Why is this person telling me these things? What are they trying to do? What's their intention, right? And not in what are they trying to do? But the more, if you follow the money with a lot of things, a lot of people will say a bunch of shit just to get money in their pocket. And they don't really care about who they're sharing the message to. They're just doing it as a talking head. So I was watching Thrive and Thrive 2. And essentially, at the end of Thrive 2, Foster Gamble, who is the great-grandson of the Procter & Gamble, the Gamble from that. Procter & Gamble, P&G, they own a whole bunch of bath supplies. They make all of your bath products. And they don't have your highest intention in good, right? They don't have your highest intention in mind. Those kind of products, they just put whatever is cheap in there that's going to get the job done. And ooh, they cause cancer. Oops, well, I'm going to pay this scientist to do the study to say that it doesn't cause cancer so that we can move on, right? Those chemicals putting on your body is not good. So this Foster Gamble is the great-grandson from that company. And he starts in Thrive saying, I chose to detach from the company. I went my own way. I did my own thing, right? So he's black sheep. He's black sheep energy. So he says it. So I'm okay, I get it. I get you. You've detached from the conglomerate that your family has come from. Cat, Thrive and Thrive 2, they are documentaries. I'm planning on getting a watch party together so that we can all watch these together and like talk through it on a chat. So just keep that in mind. So this Foster Gamble, there's just something like, is he just saying that he's disassociated from this company? Is he really doing this for Procter & Gamble? Is he really trying to promote his family's business? And like, I was kind of watching with that perception, and I was trying to think about like, well, what is his call to action? What is he telling us to do? What is he providing as the solution to this problem? Because in the way that the rest of the media has like provided solutions, it's usually come through the lens of, here's this really scary thing, I'll take care of you. Here's this really scary thing, give all your money over here and then you'll be protected, right? But Foster Gamble's message is, here's this really scary thing, just be a good human. Just act with integrity. So no one's benefiting, right? But there was the fear part of my brain that's going like, what's his motive? What is he trying to like rope me into just a little bit? And then I had this revelation about astrology, about the world, about cycles, about the nature of things. It was a universal truth. He's offering, and I'm sure a lot of us have heard about this new earth. A lot of us have heard about this like age of Aquarius. We're going into this whole thing of community and collaboration, and it's time to get along, right? Everything that started in the 60s, it's actually happening. And there are some people who aren't ready for that, right? There's some people who are really attached to, nope, I got to work my 9 to 5. I got to get my pension in. And this is the only way that the world can work. I trust the banks and everything. Like there's people that are holding on to that, and that's for them, you know? So this whole astrology cycles, like, it's going to happen. It is going to happen. The astrology says so. Everything that I've seen in the past, coming in the future astrology, like it has happened. The energy is available. We're going there. So if you don't want pain and suffering, then let go and just ride the wave. That is surrender. That is quite literally surrender. Well, it's happening, so I'm going to let go of how everything was, and I'm going to have a little bit of excitement to see what I can do with what's coming. You know what I mean? So let's talk about the elephant in the room. I don't know why I'm so afraid to talk about the election. I don't know why I don't know why we're all told to not talk politics. And I feel like that's kind of set up to work against us. Speaking from this top-down control, right? We're going to force you into choosing one of two people. We're going to make you so uncomfortable that you have to give your life to one of two parties. And then when you're upset that you lost, you're not supposed to yell at the other people. You're not supposed to voice your opinion. Like, we don't talk about that. Like, how authoritarian is that, right? And I don't want to talk politics in the way of like, well, I'm right and you're wrong, and this is the right way and that's the wrong way, because it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Everything that is happening, it's happening. It is happening. So same with the whole age of Aquarius, the people who are not ready for it, if they want to be ready, they just got to let go and go, right? Go down the roller coaster. Like, it's happening. Whatever has occurred in the United States, like, will be happening in January. If you're on board, awesome. If you're not on board, what is it that you are feeling? What are you afraid of? Those are the things that you're passionate about. Those are the things that you are here to make a difference in this world. It is a-okay that not the whole world wants what you want. That's a-okay. That does not threaten your passion. Does that make sense? And the same goes on both sides, right? If you're super happy about what happened and you see that it's going to be great, that's great. not everyone wants what you want, and that's okay. The purpose of being a human is not making everyone the same. The purpose of being a human is to be challenged by other people so that we can grow and evolve. So I will say, this time 8 years ago, in 2016, when this election result happened in 2016, I wrote a journal. So I keep an online journal, and then like occasionally it'll come back with an email like, this is what you wrote 8 years ago. So I reread my entry from 8 years ago. And at that time, I was much more involved in media. I wasn't watching the news, but I was working at the Apple Store. I was working at a very mainstream type community that was very up with the mainstream narrative. And when I woke up to see who was president in 2016, I was upset. I was very let down. I journaled that I was upset that I probably will not buy a house, at least for the next 4 years. And I will definitely not have babies for the next 4 years. I was real upset. People like my managers at work were hugging me. It was emotional. And then those 4 years went by and I bought a house. I actually bought 2 houses. I didn't have babies because I couldn't get pregnant because I wasn't with the right people at the time. But I started my own business and I gained much more financial independence. So the fears that came up at that time didn't come true. So I just want you guys to know that as well. Like, there are fears that come up, and emotions are emotions because they're here to push you into something, right? Obviously, if I was afraid that I couldn't buy a house, that means that I wanted to be a homeowner. So how do I become a homeowner despite what's happening around me, right? So the same thing right now. I know that there's a lot of fear around what this administration is going to do. And part of me feels like I'm not warranted to talk about this because I don't give a fuck. I don't look at either side of the media. I really don't care. However, what I can tell you is in that time is when I met my husband, right? While Trump was in his first presidency is when I met Paul. And that's when the world shut down. And that's when he immediately was like, this is all puppet. Everything is puppeted. We're all being controlled by everything. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm scared for my children. They might get sick. I'm scared for my students. They might get sick. And Paul's super opinionated. And he's like, no, it's fine. You're free. And I started acting like that. And I was like, oh shit, well, I am free. Check that out. I do get to make my own decisions. Check that out. And that's when I like detached more from the mainstream. I'll be honest with you guys. I went down some real deep conspiracy holes. For like 2 years, I got real deep into the alternative conservative side of things. I got real familiar with Q. I got real familiar with Trump's policies. I got real familiar with how the right was bashing the left. And at that point is when I engaged in critical thinking. I had my entire upbringing with the mainstream media liberal side of things, because that's the agenda that's pushed on mainstream media. And then I had my alternative view, conservative side, and I was able to sit with both and say, what makes sense? What makes sense here? They're both just yelling at each other. No one is here to, like, most people just want to get along in the world. It's not the right versus the left. The media tells us stories that like, oh my God, that person over there, they're the worst person ever, and they shouldn't be doing this, and this is going to ruin your life. And like, honestly, life doesn't work like that. It just creates all this fear so that we're afraid to go engage with people who are different than us, because you never know, right? But the more you do it, the more you engage with people who are different than you, you're always going to learn that there is common ground. So the wheels are turning, right? It is happening. The result has been announced. It's going to happen. Woo! Roller coaster. What is coming up inside of me? How can I use this to benefit the world? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I've been scared to talk about this because I feel like I'm the only person in the spiritual community who isn't like thinking that the world is going to be over because Trump's president. And I feel guilty that there's so much fear in the community. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. But I know, I know that when there's high emotions, we need those stable people to be like, it's fine. It's going to be okay. That doesn't mean that I'm belittling your emotions. You know, that doesn't mean I'm telling you don't be afraid. I'm saying use those emotions. There's a reason why you want to stand up for this group that you are afraid is going to be marginalized. It doesn't mean they're going to be marginalized. It doesn't mean that their rights are going to be taken away. I'm just going to say that. A lot. And this is where like the Thrive documentary comes in. This is where other documentaries come in. Like it's the way that his campaign is smeared is hilarious. And then vice versa too, right? The way that like the right side smeared Kamala's campaign, it's all bullshit. So if you keep looking to the liberal media who's making you think about how scary this guy is, like Trump's a really peaceful man. He has created so many peace treaties already. The whole time that he was in the presidency, we had 0 wars. We had 0 bombs dropped. And then like, how many bombs did Obama drop in his presidency? But like, that's the party of tolerance. Like, it's all just a smear. It's all smear and it doesn't matter. Whatever's happening outside of you doesn't matter. You have so much choice over what's happening in your life today. So it doesn't fucking matter. Stop looking at it. Because all it does is create divisiveness. If you want to stand up for that community, awesome. Thank you for standing up for that community because I got my job over here. So please respect my job over here and I'll respect your job over there. Let's help everybody in the world thrive. So the other documentary that I've watched. If you are a sensitive person, do not go search for this one. I watched... I told you guys, I went down so many rabbit holes. I was like the queen of conspiracy in 2020 through 2022. I was like in it. The Fall of the Cabal is a very, very triggering documentary about a theory about what's happening in our world. I forgot why I was talking about this. What was I just saying? We watched The Fall of the Cabal yesterday. Oh, my whole thing about how I think that, okay, all right, guys. I think I'm nuts, but I believe this, so here we go, because maybe some of you guys need to hear this. So here I am talking head to let you know that if you're also this crazy, you're okay. You're in good company. We watched The Fall of the Cabal. I've seen it. I've seen all the parts of it. It's so much. A theory, right? I haven't seen this stuff with my real eyes, but like it makes a little bit more sense than the stuff I've seen somewhere else. Anyway. My belief is that every person in the world is innately good. I truly believe it's my truth. Every human being is innately good. Every human being has a heart. And sometimes the heart is just buried under some trauma, but everyone has the ability to heal and to be their highest self and their best self and all this stuff, right? Fall of the Cabal talks about a lot of pretty messed up stuff that's happening behind closed doors. I'm going to leave it at that. Don't want to... and things that like Mel Gibson has given quotes about Hollywood and about the elites and like the things that they do and how they seem like inhuman, right? They're so disturbing that the things that they do that they derive pleasure from, it's inhumane. So I was grappling with this while I'm watching Fall of the Cabal. Like, how could this so much tragedy, so much hurt and sorrow, how can this be happening when I do truly believe that all humans are innately good? Would someone who is innately good honestly receive pleasure from just, oop, you crossed me? We're going to make it look like you suicided. Oop, you crossed me? We're going to make it look like you had a heart attack, right? So I think I came to the conclusion that I do believe that there are alternate species running our governments and stuff. I'm getting more on that path that they're just reptilians. I've dabbled with that. Did I tell you guys in 2022, I met a fucking Anunnaki in a bar. Dude channeled the Anunnakis and he talked to me and he told me their plan. They're just here to use humans as slaves to harvest the gold on Earth, and their sun is a binaural sun, or their planet is a binaural sun for us, and it comes around every like 36,000 years or something like that, and they're having their return and they're here, and if they like us, they're going to take us away with them and all this stuff. And it's just like, humanity and slavery. There's so many theories out there. So like, my favorite quote nowadays is fuck around and find out. Sit with information that is radical. Hold on to it. I've been hanging on to this ET thing for almost 3 years. And finally last night I was like, maybe I can't accept this as truth. Like maybe our societies are being run by things that are not human. And that's why power to the people, Pluto and Aquarius, maybe that's why we all need to take over. Not take over, but like take our fucking human rights back. Maybe it is time for us to just band together, get rid of who cares about who's doing what. I love you because you're a human being. Thank you for serving the role that you're meant to serve. And thank you for respecting the role that I'm meant to serve. And that's a wrap. Well, I saw the hearts going, so that gives me validation that I'm on the right path. I've been like dropping this hint for a little while. Like I'm afraid of triggering people. I know that that's my role here. I know that I'm meant to say like, well, this could be a possibility, and it's going to like mess with people's perspective. Like I understand that that's my role, but it's still scary because I don't want to debate. I don't want to debate. And if you share something, this happens all the time with people. People say things to me that I completely disagree with, but I respect. That's your truth. Okay. And then I ask them questions about it. Well, how can you develop that strategy? How can you use that part of yourself? So like, I'm afraid that I'll get debated against because I don't care to debate. I really don't care to debate. I'm just sharing my perspective, and I enjoy hearing other people's perspectives. I don't want to fight about it because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is what I'm doing for my life. You get to choose what you want to do for your life. Okay, let's see what you guys are talking about, and then I should hop off of here. I do have a card reading on Monday. April says, this election revealed that the universe is telling us that the government can never save us from ourselves. Take back our power to create our own reality. 100%. 100%. Thank you, Christine, for saying that. I saw Maggie was asking about the documentary. Thrive and Thrive 2. If you want to watch them on your own, go ahead. However, I am working on figuring out how to stream a YouTube on a YouTube live so that we can watch Thrive together with a live chat so that we can, I can hold your hand while we learn some uncomfortable truths. Because I'm a Band-Aid ripper, but I'll rub your wound. I'll help it. I want to do that with Thrive and Thrive 2 and then have like a Q&A afterwards. I think that would be fun because through all of this awakening that I've done, right, I changed perspectives so hard in 2020. I went from the government wants to protect me to the government can care two shits about me. And all it is money. Anything above me that is governing me, it's all just for money. And I got very passionate about that. And I felt very strongly like I was here to spread that message to the world. And I did that through Facebook memes and like it wasn't landing. But I feel like right now this reemergence is coming back. I feel like it's time. I feel like it's being triggered with Pluto and Aquarius now. I feel like it's being triggered with the Trump presidency coming back. I feel like it's being triggered with Neptune moving into Aries very soon, Uranus moving into Gemini very soon. There's a big shift in the human design that is bringing us into the cross of the sleeping phoenix. Like there's a lot of big change on the horizon over the next 4 years. I'm here to help you through it. And that's it. So, my gosh, what else are you guys talking about? Let me see. Can you see how red my face is? I'm burning up. I'm hot. Anytime someone says, I don't talk about it, I started questioning, Stephanie, how do we move through if we are told to hide? Yes. Yes. Because we are being taught suppression instead of expression. And suppression leads to depression. Sophia, I feel it is mostly directed to divide us and to deviate our energy and attention. Yeah, because they want to, it's easier to control half of the population. So yeah, you divide, I'll control you, but these guys are all from the same people. Kat is motivated to write books and volunteer, yes. Anique finds acceptance in knowing we are always moving, we're always changing. So if you feel pain and fear with where we are as a collective, put your best energy out into the world and know that the next shift is coming. Yes, yes. We've been waiting 2 decades, T, for a peaceful revolution and the beginning of real change. So that's where I stand firm with no fear. Do it despite. Do it despite. If you feel like you are in a world of hell right now, claim your peace and the peace that you want in the world despite what you think you're up against. I mean, I could say the same thing to myself, right? Like, I'm up against the banks. I don't want you to take my money. All right, so do it despite that. You know, you can do it for anything. Media drives fear? Yes. Sophia wanted to ask, looking at it now, how do you feel about that moment you deeply knew you wanted to leave Vipassana and marry your husband? Oh, yeah, Sophia. Okay, so Sophia's referencing, it was in 2019. I went to a Vipassana retreat. It's a silent meditation retreat, 10 days, meditate for 11 hours a day. Halfway through, I was meditating by myself off at a place where I wasn't supposed to be. And I had my first ever download that I was supposed to leave and go be with my now husband. So at that time, he and I were just friends. And I had this epiphany that like, I'm supposed to be with this man. And I got these like very clear instructions with Paul. Get better jobs, get a house, get a dog, get married, make babies. And it was so like, I knew. So I left the retreat early. I went to his house and I was like, hey, this is what happened. And he's like, oh, so we're dating now? And that's how it all started. And then we got married. I actually, before 1 year into the relationship, I realized how shitty of a person he was. I realized how poorly he was treating me. And I tried to break up with him. Like I wrote up this big, like 4-page letter and I just read it to him. And then he felt a lot of remorse and he cried all day and said he was sorry and like said he wanted to like change for me and all this stuff. And at the time, that's what I needed to hear. So cool. So I took him back and then we got married. And then throughout the marriage, I learned how to stand up for myself. I learned how to get clear on what I wanted in my life because of the constant arguing and bickering and coming up against his like perfectionistic standards, you know? And I kind of love telling this story because I have nothing but love for Paul. Like I really honestly want the best in life for him. I'm not angry at him for treating me the way he treated me. He did the best with what he could. I did the best with what I could. And I grew. Being with him, I grew. I grew into this firm, calm version of myself. And I think that's why I'm so, my message is to like, you don't need to defend yourself because he was fucking fire. He was fire. Sagittarius sun, Leo moon. So he was the sun and Jupiter, right? So he was just this big fireball. And so I learned very quickly, if I fight, the fight's going to explode immediately. So I learned how to get my point across very, very earthly. We'll put it that way. So how do you feel about that moment you deeply knew? Follow your highest excitement. At that time, my intuition guided me to the experience that I needed to have at that time. It doesn't mean it's the experience that's going to be for the rest of your life. I also kind of think that that is what drives people nuts. Yes, the same concept that I've been talking about. The wheel is going to turn. So if you keep holding on, you're going to cause suffering. If you try to keep holding on to the things that are over, well, how do you know it's over? Your emotions tell you when it's over. April's friends with a neighbor who doesn't share my political beliefs. She brought up, they said they can control the weather. I asked if it's true. Why do we have droughts? Just asking to understand is all it takes at times. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to say also with this whole critical thinking thing, holding the opposing view, if we do make this documentary party happen, I'm not saying that everything that comes out of here is truth. I'm saying, here's another perspective. Let this play with your mind, right? Like maybe sometimes information is just there for you to change how you see something. Doesn't mean that this new piece of information is truth and you have to throw out what you used to believe. But that whole like, what if aliens run the government? It just makes you think a little bit differently, right? Because that's going to trigger more questions. Well, if someone thinks that aliens run the government, then what, are aliens just living among us all the time? Like, what does that mean? Does that mean that, like, have you guys ever seen They Live? They Live. That's such a good movie. 80s documentary. Rowdy wrestler. It's a great movie. It's wonderful. Thank you guys for the kudos. Sophia Joe Dispenza says, as we grow up, we stop taking sides. I feel the truth in that everything just is. Everything just is. Nicole, yes, he was in office once and we survived. We'll survive again. Focus on your family and friends. You have already survived 100% of your hardest days. And now you have all the skills you learned through those hardest days. So your hardest days quite literally are behind you because you have been gaining skills the whole time. So if you look to your past and you're like, oh man, well, it was really scary back then. Well, you already moved through that. You already graduated that lesson. No matter who's in power, Sandra, I can always be kind to myself and others and follow my heart. Yep. Thank you. Even if you care, what they say is not even true. Danielle, yes, I wish most people understood that there's an agenda far deeper than the puppets that are in office. It will continue on regardless of who is in office. So not everyone is ready to hear that, and that's okay. That's okay. I also went through this huge, like when I started waking up, I was like, everyone needs to know this, but not everyone can handle it. And that's okay. That's okay. I will fight for you while you sleep, right? I'm going to keep going in the way that I believe that humanity is best served. And if you're not there to do it yet, like I still got you. Sophia, Fall of the Cabal, Cabal. Teresa says Zeitgeist, the movie from around 2008, was a good doc along those lines. I'm going to look that up. Because right now, me and Matt are on this documentary kick. It's the season of question everything, including your own deep-seated beliefs. Yes. Bionique from 15 minutes ago. Lisa says, too many people just want someone to come along and sort everything out for them, rather than realize as individuals they have so much power themselves. To quote my father-in-law, I'm not going to change until China changes. Meaning they are so big and he is too small to make a difference. I always think of the quote from the Dalai Lama, if you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. I love that you brought that up. And I think that can come from it seeming too daunting. How am I supposed to take on this conglomerate? How am I supposed to make a life in this societal structure that I am a part of? How, right? Small steps, right? Responsibility sucks. Who wants to be responsible, right? Who wants to be responsible for their own actions? It sucks. It feels like a teenager again. But responsibility gives you the ability to respond to your circumstances. So you can take responsibility for how you utilize what is available to you. And it's really not that difficult. Just make the best out of everything, and then it's fun. Sometimes that makes makes more sense than any of what we call reality. Yes. The Kabbalah is the large part of the series Blacklist. I'm not familiar with that, Nicole. We need a whole session on that story about Vipassana. So that's what you've been holding in. Yes. Melissa appreciates it. Thank you. Stephanie, the sun is shining. You're on the right path. Christine says, thanks for being brave. Cassie, thank you for talking about this, Jacqui. So grateful for you. Sophia, wow, thank you for sharing that. I get it's like you followed, learned what was there for you to learn, and moved on to a wiser you. Thank you so much for the deep insight. That was about my husband story. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, my conversation in the bar. When I met the alien. Oh, we need a whole thing on that one. Well, I'm gonna be here. I'll leave at 10:15. Lisa, just be curious. I'll tell you the story real quick right now. And we'll see. Yeah, because why not? So Christine loves the story. I love the story too. And I love telling it as life goes on. So long story short, this was March of 2022. This was pretty much towards the end of me being like, the world's out to get us. I got to figure out the world. So I was watching documentaries all the time. I was like trying to figure out how they're going to get us. But I was watching a documentary and I don't remember what it was, but the theme of like alien abduction came up in the documentary. And I remember it resonating with me. So I paused my TV, I sat back in my couch. I literally looked up and I was like, I volunteer with the highest intention, right? I volunteer to like communicate with aliens or something. And then that weekend, a few days later, I was at our local bar that we go to all the time. Me, Paul, and our friend, and the three of us were playing darts. The dart board was, so like here's the bar, it's a long bar, darts, bathroom. So like people had to walk across us to go to the bathroom. So people are drinking. We had been drinking, but I was like aware, like I maybe had like a beer and a half at that point. And this guy comes out of the bathroom. I would guess he's 60. He comes out of the bathroom. He's very, he's like charismatic, right? Just super nice, genuine. He's like, oh my God, it's so nice to see you guys. I'm so happy you're here. And something about this guy, I was like, I like him, right? I'm a flirt. Have you guys noticed that yet? Like I'll flirt with anyone just because it's fun. So I was doing my astrology thing, not to like get in this guy's pants, but just to like keep him entertained with us in our group. And I was like, you are definitely a Sagittarius. And he was like, oh, how did you know that? And I was like, I don't know. This is my thing. Cause I guess, cause like your vibe and whatever. And then I kept watching him and I was like, you are definitely a December Sagittarius. And he's like, guess the date. And this was another time that I had like a download. I didn't even have to think about it. The number 17 was just right there. As soon as he said like, what date? And I was like, 17, duh. And he was a little flabbergasted. He pulled out his driver's license and he showed it to me that his birthday was December 17th. And at that point, even I was like, what the fuck did I just do? How did that? Okay. That was it. And then we were like friendly, right? And so he was with his friends and we were at the dartboard and then like we, just cross paths throughout the night a few times, chat. And then I was at like a bar top table by myself, just sitting there. And this guy comes over, he locks eyes with me and he says, I'm an Anunnaki and I'm from the planet Nibiru. And my planet comes around your sun every 3,600 years or whatever number it was. And he said that we are returning. The Anunnaki are here to harvest the gold from Earth. And we do so by having humans harvest the gold for us. So we have enslaved the humans and we use them as slaves. However, if we enjoy your company, we'll take you back with us on our ship. And he was telling me all this, and this is around the time where I'm like diving into everything. This is when I started having that experience, like maybe there are aliens here. And I was like, wow, okay, cool, bro. Thanks for sharing all this with me. And I remember I asked him, how long have you known that you're an alien? And he told me since he was 13. And I remember that was like the one question that I remember asking him. And I believe that that's all the information that he gave me. So he went back to his friends. I immediately started texting my other conspiracy friend, and I was like, you won't even believe what just happened. These are all the things he said, because I also knew that I was drinking and I wanted to fully remember what happened. And then I was texting and I was like, wait a second, what planet did he say he was from? So I walked back up to this man who had his back to the bar at this point. I said, where did you say that you were from? And he was like, Arlington Heights. He was so confused, so flabbergasted, and he named a town that's nearby. And I was like, okay, this man was definitely being used as a channel by the Anunnaki. Like, this man is not an alien, but something entered his body while he was inebriated with spirits, right? That's why liquor is called spirits, because it allows spirits to enter your body. And I was like, oh my God. So then the next morning, I went online and I looked up the Anunnaki and I looked up everything he said, and everything he said was exactly what the internet says, so it must be true. But like, it was just interesting that all the details that he gave and the way that I locked eyes with you guys while I was telling that story, like that's what happened when he told me all this stuff. And I was just, so I don't know why I met the alien, but it was awesome. It was awesome. Sophia, why did you assume he didn't always know, like from birth in his alien family? I don't know. Intuition? It was also like 2.5 years ago, so I don't necessarily remember. I did tell this story on Insight Timer long ago. I remember sitting in my bedroom. Do you guys remember when I used to do Insight Timer in my bedroom and I had all my essential oils on the wall behind me? Christine's been here that long. Teresa was here with us at that time. That was a long time ago. I've come such a long way. Yeah, Teresa. Okay, so I have sufficiently got out what I wanted to get out. Thank you for being here and listening. I also want to say that I'm a little bit surprised that there wasn't really any pushback on what I blabbed about. It makes me feel good that no one's trying to argue with me, and that gives me a little bit more courage to do this next time. If I severely turned you off and if you don't want to listen to my message anymore because of my beliefs, like, cool, then I'm not for you. Then someone else is for you, and I want you to go find them. I want what's best for you. You know, I don't care if you're loyal to me. That's another big thing that I try to communicate as well. Like, not everyone is for you, and that's okay. That's really okay. Maybe they can thrive more under someone else, and good for them. That doesn't say anything bad about you. Dorian's glad you showed up today. Lisa says, thank you. You are a diamond. Sophia, over 200 of us here. Let's all donate at least $1 for the session so we keep having these beautiful, enriching interactions. Thank you, Sophia. I really appreciate you. I'm just sitting with that. That's been a thing that I've been grappling with for a long time, is I know I'm doing this for donations. I really love doing this. I've been talking for 2 hours straight. I clearly love doing this. You know, now I am in a place where I don't have to pay so many bills, so maybe I can stop. But then what does that say about self-worth and self-value and all this stuff? It's so complicated. It's so convoluted. I don't know. Everything always works out. I love you guys. I really do love the relationship that we have here. I love the conversation part of Insight Timer. I really do. This is why I don't just create videos and post them, you know, like a Pam Gregory or like a Molly McCord. I love communicating with you guys. So that's why I continue to do stuff on platforms like this. So I value you, right? Do you need to hear that today? I value you. Stephanie says, Jacqui, you are really special. Thank you. Thanks, Stephanie. You can only see in yourself what exists. You can only see in others what exists inside of yourself. Christine, I love that there is someone out there who will talk about it. I have felt all alone. Share it. Share it. You know what? I think I might clip that little rant and make it its own video. If you want to use me as a talking head to be like, hey, this girl can say this without placing blame or getting defensive about people who disagree with her. If you want to just try to like float the message out, share my videos. Melissa, thank you so much for your donation. You will be receiving a book dive from one of the 2 decks from today. Yay. All right. I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving if you are celebrating in the States. If you are choosing to rebel against Thanksgiving, I'm jealous because I wanted to do that and I got roped into going with my family because whatever, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I am not making any food though. I'm just going to show up. I am the present. Cool. I'll be back on Monday. I'm taking Friday off because I want to, and then I'll be back on Monday for cards. So I